Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
And the great Maya Angelou reminds us, ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. Welcome to Inspired Living, wherever you are. Every moment is an opportunity to ignite your passion and curiosities and embrace the mysteries, phenomenons, the unknown, the ordinary, and yes, the extraordinary. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all of you inspired listeners out there. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here with you yet again for what I like to call soul adventures and an inspired episode to explore, discuss, and discover the many diamonds within each and every one of us and the many hidden gems that have yet to be revealed to us and the world. I'm thrilled to have you join us today as we embark on a journey of inspiration, motivation, and transformation. Whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your own home, if you're on the road, or wherever life takes you, this show is designed to uplift your spirit and empower your dreams. Here at Inspired Living, we believe that within each of us lies the potential to create the life we desire. And together, we'll explore stories of resilience, wisdom, and creativity that will spark your imagination and encourage you to take bold steps towards your goals. Inspired Living is all about fostering a supportive and empowering community. Each episode will highlight incredible guests like the one we have today who have overcome challenges, pursued their passions, and make a positive impact in their fields. From artists and entrepreneurs to thought leaders and wellness advocates, we'll bring you diverse voices and perspectives that resonate with the journey of personal growth. We'll delve into the topics like mindfulness, creativity, goal setting, and of course, resilience, providing you with practical tips and insights to apply to your own life. Inspired listeners can expect engaging discussions, thought-provoking questions, and actionable steps to turn inspiration into reality. Additionally, we'll create a space for you to share your own stories and experiences. Your journey matters, and we want to celebrate your victories no matter how big or how small. Together, we can cultivate a mindset of possibility and unlock the doors to our dreams. So whether you're seeking encouragement, looking for new ideas, or simply want to feel connected, Inspired Living is here to fill your journey and inspire you and each other to live our best lives. Or as we like to say, you are the inspired and the inspiration, so let's be inspired. Let's inspire others, and let's inspire before we expire. We always give a big shout out and say thank you to all of our global listeners from around the planet, which we like to refer to you as our inspired listeners. We like to just say thank you for listening, for downloading. We're always so very humbled and grateful for you leaving reviews and voting to make Inspired Living Radio and Podcast not only a best inspirational show, but a best spiritual show to follow and listen to as referenced by FeedSpot. So we really appreciate it, and we really appreciate you. If you've not yet subscribed, liked, or followed the show, there's always time to do so over on our main social media platforms. Of course, at Facebook, just look for the group community page, Inspired Living Radio and Podcasts. Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, formerly known as Twitter. You can look for the handle Inspired For Us. That's the number 4, Inspired For Us. And of course, over on our YouTube channel, Inspired Living Radio. And we are now streaming through Audible or your favorite podcasting platforms, or you can simply say, Alexa, open up Inspired Living Podcast to play this latest episode. So let's get ready to be inspired and motivated because the bet is yet to come. And as I always like to say, let's go prospecting. A new day, a new opportunity, a day we've not seen before to use our intuition to prospect this wonderful world around us. Let's do this. So today we're welcoming to the show for the first time, Katie Miranda, and we're going to be talking about manifesting. She's a manifesting life coach, manifesting guru, and we're going to talk about how to attract what you want in your life to make your best life possible. And I'm going to give a little information about Katie, and you can go to our social media sites or Om Times Radio where the write-up is, and we have all the links there. She does a lot of great stuff from not only manifesting, but art, and she's given out a free manifesting guide ebook from today's show, and that link is also on our social media pages. So Katie is a transformational manifesting artist. Her mission is to help people realize that even though they've been through painful times or experiences, they can turn those experiences around and manifest what they want in life. Using her unique, what she calls future memory paintings, she empowers clients to clarify their goals and reduce future anxieties. Together, they create not only art, but also a clear pathway to achieving your dreams. Katie's clients come away with a vision of where they are going, a piece of fine art that they help create, and reduced anxiety about the future because they are crystal clear on their goals. Katie received her BFA and MFA from the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. Her work has been published in Moto Eyes, Middle East Eye, Middle East Monitor, Common Dreams, Distant Voice, and Electronic Infata, Al Jazeera, Huffington Post, British Vogue, Press TV, and the International Museum of Women. Wow. She's had exhibitions at UC Berkeley, the Islamic Center of Northern California, Desert Designs, Saudi Arabia, and Sahara, Capital of Islamic Culture Exhibitions 2014, and the Jerusalem Fund Gallery in Washington, D.C. Again, if you want to learn more about Katie and the beautiful work and art she's bringing to our world, you can go to manifesting.katiemiranda.com, or you can go to our social media pages to get all the links that are there. Katie, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me.
Well, welcome to Inspired Living. Let's just jump right into it because you're going to be amazed at how fast these shows go, especially when it's an interesting topic like manifesting. So tell the global audience a little bit about yourself, how you got here, the work you're doing, and then we'll get into some questions for you.
Sure, yeah. So I got into manifesting by accident. I wasn't actively trying to really do it, but it was after I had gotten divorced from my first marriage, and I ended up drawing a picture of a man who looks exactly like my now husband. And I drew this picture about 9 months before I actually met him. And the crazy thing was, unfortunately, this is radio, so I can't share the picture with you. But I drew him wearing a navy collared shirt, and that was actually what he was wearing when I first met him. So that was pretty weird. And as I said, I didn't really know anything about manifesting that back then. And so eventually we got married, and I was in my my mid 40s at that time, and I didn't have kids, and neither did he, and we both wanted kids. And I ended up having 4 miscarriages and a lot of doctors telling me that I was too old to have my own baby and that I should consider, other options. And I just didn't believe that. Like, I didn't feel like I was too old. I'm very healthy. I've always taken very good care of myself. And the fact that I had been pregnant 4 times, it was proof that I was not infertile,
Right.
because I kept getting pregnant. And my husband said to me, Katie, you drew me and you manifested me. Why don't you try drawing our future kid and see if you can manifest our future kid? So I did. I just sat down. I drew a picture of a little baby. And about 9 months after I drew that, I became pregnant again. And this time the pregnancy stuck, and I had my first baby at age 45. And he is now 4.5 years old now. And it's wild, Mark, because he looks exactly like that picture that I drew.
Mm-hmm.
And so after these two pretty bizarre experiences, I realized, you know, something's going on here that I want to explore more, and I want to see if I can repeat this, because that would be great, right? If this was repeatable.
Right.
And so I kept doing that when I had, you know, different goals. You know, we had a goal of building a house out in the country. So I drew a picture of that. We manifested that. And then I started working with clients on this and helping them get clear about what their goals are, and then creating a piece of fine art for them, which they could hang in their office or home. And I also always encourage them to put it on their phone so that they see it, you know, 200 times a day, or however many times a day we check our phones.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into manifesting.
And for our listeners out there that are listening, and they may be new to this concept of manifesting, how would you break down what is manifesting? What are some things that people can, you know, if they're new to the word manifesting or have never really applied manifesting, what are some basic definitions or tips that you can offer?
So I work with kind of two different segments of the population, and with like the more spiritual type of people, the term is manifesting. With the more left brain and business oriented type of people, it's just goal setting and goal achieving. Like it's the same thing. It's just getting clear about what you want and pursuing that until it becomes true. And there are really basically four components of manifesting. The first step towards manifesting is getting clear on what you want. Like, for example, I was clear that I wanted a baby, and I wanted it to be my genetic baby. And, you know, that's what I wanted, and that's what I made happen. The second step is looking out for opportunities that could help you get what you wanted. And how I applied that to my life in this case is I got in a bunch of Facebook groups for women who were trying to conceive. I read a bunch of books. I followed all the advice from the books from experts who had like done this before me, you know, women who were in their 40s, or women who had medical conditions where doctors had told them that they couldn't get pregnant. So just listening to people who had done what I had done before. And then the third step is taking constant action every day to get me closer to my goal. And in this particular case, it was cleaning up my diet, getting rid of plastic containers, because plastic containers leach out endocrine disrupting chemicals into the body. And unfortunately, this is one of the reasons that many younger, healthy women are having problems conceiving these days. Because of the bisphenol A in the plastic containers that we eat our food out of. So that was another step. One step I really didn't enjoy was clearing sugar out of my diet, because I'm a chocoholic. But so that was difficult, you know. And then the fourth step involves getting accountability and support from friends and family when the going gets tough, and when people experience setbacks or challenges. And this could be, you know, something as simple as like one supportive friend who knows what you're trying to do and is encouraging when you're trying to overcome challenges related to manifesting your dreams. Or it could be getting a coach or a mentor, somebody who will hold you accountable for doing what you say you're going to do. So those are kind of the four steps of manifestation.
I love it. And for our inspired listeners out there that know the word manifesting and have tried and have been manifesting and manifesting, maybe frustrated, because again, inspired listeners, there will be challenges, there will be setbacks. That is a part of life. Life is here to challenge us. So if you have that mindset going in, but what would you say to the inspired listeners that have been on the manifesting path? Maybe something's, maybe they're not doing something, the positive affirmations or the taking actions or getting that supportive. What would you recommend for those that have been trying to manifest but not seeing results from their manifestation?
So I tell people that the number one reason that people fail to manifest is that they give up too soon. And I see this all the time with single women, and probably single men too, but it's the women who come to me and want to work with me on this. They go out on a couple of dates, maybe they see a guy for a couple months or something, and it ends up being a bad experience for them. They get disappointed or they get broken up with, or he's not the right guy for them. And then they just kind of decide to take a break from dating. And that is really, like, taking a break is really counter to the whole manifesting process. And I know it's like, when we have disappointments in our life all the time, in business, in health, in love, in relationships, whatever. But quitting or, sometimes taking a break can really be detrimental to your trajectory going forward, because you're really giving yourself an excuse to quit. And whether you quit for 3 months or 5 years, that has a big effect on your self-esteem and your ability to get back in the game. And I'm talking about like across the board. It doesn't just have to do specifically with dating. It can also be business. It can also be looking for a job. Whatever it is you're trying to manifest, like, don't quit. Accept that there are setbacks, get support for that, and get back in the game as quickly as possible.
I love that. The dedication, the discipline to do this and what you're saying is not take breaks for those that have been. And I'm thinking of a picture. I had seen this picture and it showed 2 miners, one above and one below. And they've dug this, and the one gets right up to this big diamond, and he says, "You know what? I'm going to quit. There's no diamond here." And he turns back while the other guy keeps going. So that's a visualization for the inspired listeners out there. And now you talked about the left brain. You approach this from 2 types of people. What do you mean by that? You're now getting into the discussion of Einstein, because Einstein always talked about the left brain versus the right brain. So what do you mean by the left brain people?
I think the more logical, rational, for lack of a better term, less woo-woo type people, this works for them too. I change my language when I work with them.
Okay.
Because I meet everybody where they are, and I can talk to both sets of people, because I embody both left brain and right brain pretty equally. I am an artist, so I am very creative and intuitive, but I'm also like incredibly rational and logical, which drives people crazy sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, it's, and I learned a lot about the brain years ago, with my brother's brain cancer. And I actually sat down with a surgeon several times and talked the concept of the brain and how the brain works. And that left side that you're talking about is all about, the analytical, the logic, the reasoning, our memory, and our side on the left side of the brain. But you talked about art, which a lot of that creativity that Einstein always referred to. In fact, he always said that, imagination is everything. It's the preview attractions, which I always found interesting that Einstein had so many of these, just words of wisdom. That's like, what did he mean by that? How did he talk about that the true power lies in the right hemisphere of the brain. That's where your creativity is. That's where your art is. And even the surgeons that I had sat and talked with about, my brother's brain, they said there's just a lot they don't know about the right hemisphere, through research and science. And I've always found that very fascinating, that reading somewhat how the brain works, but at the same time, it's almost like it is separated into two different hemispheres, the left brain and the right brain. And then, you said you meet people where they're at to man. Are they more left brain, more ego based, more logic, more reason, or are they more right brain and more spiritual or woo or open with a broader perspective? So I just brain to be very interesting. And you talked about intention as well, which I always, from a psychic standpoint, I've always told people that when you set your power comes from within. And when you do that, energy follows to start to open up. I think you described it as opportunities, opening up. If one door closes, maybe we're meeting new people or that network. What did you, as one of those 4 tips, what did you mean? What's your view of opportunities or coincidences or synchronicities when it comes to the world of manifesting?
My opinion in that regard is to take them. Because when you open your mind up to manifesting your goal, opportunities will start coming to you. And here's the problem that some people have with that. When an opportunity shows up to help them get where they're going, if it doesn't look exactly how they expect it to look, how they want it to look, sometimes they push those opportunities away. I tell people, accept every opportunity that comes your way, even if it's small,
Yeah.
Even if you think it's insignificant, because by accepting these opportunities and following them through their outcomes, you're opening yourself up to more. And when you reject these opportunities, you're telling yourself, you're telling God, you're telling the universe, whatever, that you don't want any more opportunities. And not all of these opportunities will always pan out, but by accepting them, you're shifting yourself into more openness and more gratitude for what God is providing you with. And that is really key to maintaining that forward trajectory towards your goal.
I love that. Always say yes. I always refer to it as the ABCs in life. Always be connecting. Always be connecting to learn, to grow. And, for you inspired listeners out there, I always say I either win or I learn. I don't lose in life, because in life we have these terms like failure, or you're not good enough, or you're not strong enough. And that's not the journey. The journey is about learning. And if you don't learn that lesson, it repeats, right? And manifesting helps you to start changing that trajectory, that perception of yourself. Because who's the one person you talk to the most in your life? Yourself. That self voice. Right. And you even just said it, there's that voice within, which usually resides in the left hemisphere of the brain, also known as the ego. But becoming aware of your ego and not listening to every voice in your head is also part of the journey that I found with the power of manifesting. And I go all the way back to Dr. Wayne Dyer. And when I started down the spiritual path, he always would talk about, if you change the way that you look at something, the thing that you're looking at starts to change. And it starts with that belief within. So a lot of you listeners out there, you want to see it before you believe it. And I would say flip that, start to believe it within, because that's intention, that's energy. And then you start to see those things. You start to see the opportunities, the doors opening, everything that Katie is talking about. So believe it, see it, and then start to achieve it. And that is the true power of manifesting. I've seen it, Katie and I did a summit back in February talking about all this, because I've seen it firsthand in my own life and applied to it. But at the same time, the journey's not always a straight path, right? So it's that discipline, it's that dedication, but it's also giving yourself grace to know that, you will fail, and embrace failure, because failure is first attempt at learning. So either win at life or learn at life. And if you fail, you keep going. So you had talked about visualization. And for anybody that's catching this episode, if you want to go to our social media pages or Katie's page, you have visualizations of your vision boards, right, of what people have drawn, because that's something you give them when you're manifesting session with them. They actually walk away with kind of a vision board, if you will, right?
So it's not a vision board. It's actually a piece of fine art of
Okay.
the vision that they have created in their head of when they've
Okay.
manifested their goal. So I'll just backtrack a little bit and explain like how I get to that point.
Okay.
So when I work with clients one-on-one, I do this guided meditation with them where they close their eyes and they visualize themselves having manifested whatever it is they want to manifest, whether it's a spouse, a baby, a different career, a new house. And then I have them describe the scene in their head to me, and I'm taking notes. And I basically just apply what I learned in art school to their manifesting goal. And in art school, I studied to be an illustrator, and we were trained to work with clients who have a vision of, an advertisement or, some kind of picture that they want to use with their products. And we're trained to listen to them, take notes, and then draw a picture of what they want. And that's exactly what I'm doing with my clients, taking their vision for their future that they have in their head, and then creating a piece of fine art for them that they can hang on their wall. And it's something that they co-created with me, basically. So it's pretty special in that regard.
Got it. So visualization to create fine art. Not a vision board, vision to create fine art. I love it. So we're going to take our first break. But if you want to get this Manifesting Jumpstart Guide by Katie, you can go to our social media sites, and you can also go to manifesting.katiemiranda.com to get this Manifesting Jumpstart Guide to get this started to manifest the life that you want. So we'll be back here in 2 minutes. You're listening to Inspired Living Radio.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
One planet, 7.3 billion people. Only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing a job
and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living. Rumi reminds us that the universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. So welcome back. Today's special guest is Katie Miranda, Transformational Manifesting Artist, and we're talking about manifesting, the power of manifesting, how manifesting works, the discipline of manifesting. And if you want to get your free manifesting e-guide to jumpstart, it's called the Manifesting Jumpstart Guide by Katie Miranda. You can go to manifesting.katiemiranda.com, and that is Katie, KatieMiranda.com, and you can pick up that Jumpstart Guide after listening to today's episode. So I highly recommend that you go over and do that. And again, you can get all these links at our Inspired Living social media pages. So Katie, welcome back. We're done with our breaks now, so let's dive right back into the power of manifesting. And what would you say, let's role play for a second. I've been manifesting for years, Katie, and I just can't seem everything you've said. I've been disciplined. I've been showing up. I've been doing positive mantras and intentions, but it just doesn't seem to be working. What would you say to somebody like me that comes in as a client to get over this hump or this plateau that I find myself on?
I would say the first thing that you need to do is recommit to your vision by getting excited about it again. A lot of the times when we're manifesting something, we get overwhelmed with the disappointments and we lose our excitement. And excitement is directly related to vibration. So if you are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated with not being able to manifest what you want, that overwhelm and frustration is going to affect your vibration. And as most people know who have been studying metaphysics for a while, like your vibration is key to getting what you want. So what I do with my clients is when we do the visioning session, I walk them through how their life is going to change for the better after they've manifested what they want. And that really starts to up people's vibration because they get excited about what they want. And working with me, we create together a clear path about how they're going to do that. And that, that has the effect of upping their vibration.
And I love that. So, I'm just thinking when you said vibration, because there's a lot of things in metaphysics and in science that, it does talk about energy. It does talk about frequency. It does talk about vibration. Science teaches us that the brain can actually receive in 12 different frequencies, from a scientific standpoint. And I'm going back a couple decades now when I first started learning about manifesting and meditations and visualizations. I was actually here at the University of Washington taking my sports medicine graduate studies, and we actually had a course dedicated to that. And so that's, nothing spiritual, nothing woo-woo, nothing, psychic or mediumship or any of that. It was literally a course based on professional athletes that use techniques of visualizations, manifestations, and meditations to reach that optimal athletic level of being in the zone that they talk about, and so that's why I first became aware of manifesting. And, since then I try to use positive mantras, and I'm not sure who had said this. It was an anonymous quote, but it says that your life is a manifestation of your thoughts. What are you thinking? And ever since I heard that, because that was one of the quotes that was used in the course, I was like, holy smokes, you're right. If my life is a manifestation of my thoughts, what am I thinking? And so that becomes a daily chore of, okay, what are my thoughts today? Am I very negative? Am I very positive? Am I connecting to the material world and all of the garbage that's out in the material world through social media and the news cycle? No, because it impacts my thoughts, and I want to become a manifestation of what my thoughts are. So for you inspired listeners, thoughts matter. And Nikola Tesla talked about this years back in the 1800s. 1865, he was talking about, if you want to unlock secrets of the universe, you have to start thinking in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's powerful stuff. And if you go prospecting with those three concepts, y'all, I guarantee you your life will start to change in amazing, healing, transformative ways. It might be tough for that transformation, but at the end of the day, you'll be glad that you did it. So, Katie, we have enough time to do, you have a visioning exercise, visioning for fine art. I'm going to just put that caveat in there because it's not a vision board. It's visioning for fine art. But you have a visioning exercises that you could do for our audience. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how much time it would take? And would we be able to do it right now live?
Yeah, we can do it right now. Sure.
All right, let's do it. I love it. Let's go.
Okay. So this is what I do with my private coaching clients. So this is an amazing opportunity for you guys to all get really crystal clear about what your vision for your future is going to be. So I want everybody who's listening to close their eyes and imagine that point in the future where the goal that you have wanted to manifest for a long time has been achieved. You've manifested your dream, whether it's marrying your future spouse, or whether it's a financial goal or a career goal, whatever it is. I want you to time travel into the future and visualize yourself having achieved that. And just sit with that for a little bit. And think about the following things. What time of year was it? Was it winter, spring, summer, fall? What time of day was it? Where are you? Are you at home? Are you outside? Who is with you? And perhaps, even more importantly, who is not with you? What are you wearing? What do you smell? Like, what scents are in the air? What sounds do you hear? Do you hear birds if you're outside? And then I want you to imagine, what about this experience is even better than you ever imagined? How do you feel? Are there any predominant colors? What has opened up in your life? What has become possible for you now that you have manifested this dream? So I want people to just hold that beautiful scene in their head about when they manifested their goal. Keep it there so it sticks. I want everybody to be able to go back to this whenever they want, recreate this vision in their head. And this vision that you have in your head is what I actually create as a piece of fine art for my clients. So everybody can open their eyes now. And hopefully you feel happy and connected and in a higher vibration to what you are trying to manifest.
And then we all take a nice deep breath and go, and so it is. And so it is. So
did you try it, Marc?
Yeah, and what I did is I actually took it one step further because I wanted to create, and for the inspired listeners at home or around the globe, you can do this as well. After you do that exercise, I went to one of my card decks. I have a card deck called I Allow, and it is the positive energy and in words to say that you allow something into your life. And so after that, I shuffle the deck and I pick the card, and I'm not kidding, Katie. You can't make this stuff up. I literally pulled a card that says, I allow myself to learn what I need to learn And at the top of the card is a brain. It's literally it's showing the brain with a rainbow and a book of knowledge on the card. And at the bottom of the book is the world itself with wings attached to it. Is that not just crazy?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I allow myself to learn what I need to learn. And that's, for you listeners out there, that's what life is. Life is a school, an art, if you will, to come here to learn, to grow, to transform, to fail, to have, the pain and the joy. And if you really want to get out of the patterns that you're in, the habits, the attachments that you're in, change your thoughts, change your words, change your actions, and start to manifest for the life that, you saw, that Katie just took us through that vision of fine art. What did it look like to you? And apply that now every day for the rest of your life. And, it goes all the way back to, what Pablo Picasso, the famous artist, had talked about. Everything you can imagine is real. You just need to dream and explore and discover that. And that's sometimes takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but don't give up. So thank you for sharing that with the listeners today. I really appreciate that exercise. So
yeah,
as I said,
agree with you 100%. Do you want to share with people what your vision was?
Well, it's funny because my vision, like I said, my vision started back in 2008 at the University of Washington to be where I'm at now. So when you said envision where you're at now, I saw the concept of my business, the Intuitive Prospector, becoming even more global than in what it is. And I was like, and I go back to when I first had this vision of the Intuitive Prospector to help people prospect for the diamond within and the diamonds that are all around us. Those 2 decades ago, I was like, are you kidding me? This is what I'm imagining for my life. And I was kind of like, joking, like, okay, I did not see that for my life. I had other ambitions and my ego had other ideas of what I should be doing. But now I'm doing my authentic self and able to visualize what that future holds. And it looks like a very fun, exciting soul adventure in the years ahead for what I'm doing, both with radio, with
That's
writing,
amazing.
and with teaching. So yeah, and then I pulled that card. I allow myself to learn what I need to learn. So I guess I have to keep growing and keep learning and keep transforming. So
yeah, stay open to what you need to learn.
Stay open, stay dedicated, stay disciplined if you really truly want to step into that manifestation. So with the time we have left, Katie, what would you like to talk about in your own journey of manifestation, or something that I didn't touch on, or something I may miss, or something you want to share that's coming up for you?
Well, I have another exercise that I can share with people, and they don't have to do it right now, but
Okay.
It's something that they could do later, and
Okay.
it's
A two for one.
What?
Yeah, I said we're getting a 2-for-1 today, so let's do it.
Yeah, so it's a confidence building exercise, and the goal for this is if you're feeling like, if you're having imposter syndrome, or you feel like you can't do it, or you're not qualified enough, or you don't have the right education, or, any of these things that we make up in our head that prevent us from moving forward towards our goal, this exercise is going to help you with that. And as I said, people don't have to do it right now, but, they can just take 5 or 10 minutes later in the day and do it. So the exercise is basically to list out all of your degrees, your certificates, your qualifications, your coursework that you've completed, including like everything from now back to when you were a child, including, graduating from elementary school, graduating from middle school, your university degrees or postgraduate degrees, first aid classes, any types of religious courses that you've been through, like catechism or, and anything like that, personal development courses. List them all out, and whenever you have a job interview, or maybe you're giving a presentation or something and you have this like imposter syndrome going or some anxiety, just go through your list and read that back to yourself and see how qualified you feel after you look at all of that.
Wow. Yeah, I was kind of just doing that as you were saying that. I was just listing out, going all the way back to grade school. There's a lot of certificates and a lot of accomplishments. So we do have a lot to be grateful for and confident in our abilities and all that we've accomplished in our life, right? As far as, like you said, certificates. I was thinking of military, boot camp, the fire academy, just different things that, now I don't need it for a job interview because I work for myself now and I'm retired. So I guess I don't need to worry about a future interview. But, for you listeners out there, you have a lot of life experiences. And if you fail at something or you don't meet that goal right today, you don't have to start at zero. You can start with the skills that you've built in life, in the school of life, and all those certificates and accomplishments and degrees that Katie was just referencing. So that's a great exercise to do after you're done listening to today's show. So thank you, Katie, for that. I love that. And I know my listeners love that. They love when they can participate or call into the show and ask questions or have, exercises like this. So just for the sake of time, I've got the websites manifesting.katiemiranda.com, art.katiemiranda.com. Let's talk about that real quick, your art, because you've been featured in your bio. You were featured in a few exhibitions in some, pretty cool places. From UC Berkeley to, Desert Design, Saudi Arabia. Is this all based on your art or is this all based on your manifesting or both?
This is all based on my art and my jewelry. I had an Arabic calligraphy jewelry line that I designed and created that has been exhibited and sold in stores throughout the Middle East and also here in North America. So the website art.katiemiranda.com is my fine art and prints. And just one slight correction, my ebook, my Manifesting Jumpstart Guide is available at manifesting.katiemiranda.com/ebook. The website that you mentioned, manifesting.katiemiranda.com, that's like my general website for the service I provide for people. The ebook, you have to go to /ebook. But if you can't find it, just find me on social media and I'll send it to you. Just look me up, Katie Miranda. And if there are any audience members who have a question, I'm happy to answer questions in the time that we have left.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so manifesting.katiemiranda.com /ebook. I do have that. I just didn't. I don't think I said it. And you can get the ebook from your main site, though, too, I imagine, right? Or
not from the main site, no.
Not from the main site. Okay. World of technology. But we have all these links at our social media pages as well if you want to check out Katie's work, Katie's art. Are you doing any art? I have a question. Are you doing any art that would be focused on wearing the manifestation energy, like jewelry that would be dedicated to a manifesting cause?
Yeah. When I was creating the Arabic calligraphy jewelry, I kind of just wanted to do jewelry that would be uplifting to people. So I had jewelry that conveyed positive messages in Arabic script. The jewelry that says hope in Arabic, which is pronounced amal, or faith, or wisdom or love. All my different necklaces and earrings and rings, they have words of positivity and encouragement on them, just to, kind of make people excited and proud to wear them. And yeah.
And do you work with any elements from the earth, like crystals or certain materials that you use in your jewelry to help with that energy or that connection or that psychometry of what they're trying to do when they're trying to manifest?
I was working in sterling silver, and I'm using the past tense here, even though my jewelry is still available at www.katiemiranda.com. But it's something I'm kind of shifting out of, and I just ended up using gemstones that I thought were pretty, like amethyst and lapis lazuli, carnelian. Turquoise. Kind of my favorite colors, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love it. So, just as the last part of the show here, what would you like to say about manifesting, or any other additional tips, or what have you seen from your own journey of the power of manifesting and how it's changed your life? I know you talked about you drew your husband, and then your future child. What else has manifesting done for you in your journey?
Well, I want to brag about one of my clients. And
awesome.
To be clear, what he manifested was 100% his work. So I'm not taking credit for him. But
no, you give him a shout out.
Yeah, sometimes people just need a little shove out the door. A little permission or validation that what they want to do, is possible.
Sure.
And so one of my clients, Jonas, he served a 2-year prison sentence for drugs. And when he got out of prison, he had kind of decided that he wanted to become an attorney who would specialize in prisoners' rights, because his rights had been violated in prison multiple times. And he had this idea in his head, and he was kind of dilly-dallying about moving forward with it for about 2 years, actually. I think because he was just lacking the confidence and commitment to really pursue this. And he came to me, and I worked with him, and we created a future memory vision of him graduating from law school with his friends and family in the audience. And about 3 months after I created this painting for him, he had applied to a bunch of different law schools, and he ended up getting a almost full scholarship to Albany Law School.
Okay.
And he just took the bar. He's waiting on his results, but I know he is going to pass. So that was less than 3 years ago, and he's getting ready to graduate law school now. And to be clear, this was 100% him doing the work, but working with me and doing the future memory painting, it was the little nudge, the gentle nudge that he needed to recommit to his vision and believe that it's actually possible. So I'm super proud of him, and I can't wait to see the good that he's going to create in the world.
I love that. That's very powerful stuff. And what was his name again?
Jonas. And
Jonas.
People
so we're going to give a big shout out.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to give a big Inspired Living shout out to Jonas for his journey to go from jail to lawyer to serving others. That's such a very powerful manifestation to be able to do that. And again, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you're his teacher for that moment to help inspire him, to help mentor him, to help push him, give him that little, and that's what we do as teachers. And when the teacher is done, the student becomes the teacher, right? So it's that process. So thank you for sharing that. And I love giving shout outs to people that have, gone through the process and have, done the things that we've talked about today, whether it's, setting the intentions, the visualizations to create the fine art that you want in the future, positive affirmations, belief and alignment, taking your actions, gratitude, trust the process, all of these things that we talk about when it comes to manifesting. And, for your inspired listeners out there, remember, you're accessing knowledge that's all around us. And we don't create knowledge as humans. We like to think we create knowledge, but we actually access knowledge. It's us tuning to the right frequency, the right vibration, the right thought process. We can even throw Eckhart Tolle in here when he says, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. So take that step forward. Use the power of manifestation. You can work with Katie more closely on the websites that we've mentioned on today's show. You can also get that free manifesting smart ebook for what she's offering today. And I'm just going to ask you, as we wrap up the show, what or who inspires you, Katie?
What or who inspires me? God inspires me as the creator of the universe.
Okay.
My son inspires me My son he's so funny. I'm such an introvert, and I'm kind of a very quiet person. And despite the fact that my son has two introverted parents, he is an extrovert, and he is a ball of energy. And he walks into the room, and he is the center of attention, and he loves it. So he is my inspiration, because becoming a parent, we're told that we're supposed to teach our kids a lot, but they end up teaching us.
Right. And I was just going to say, we can learn from them, and he's teaching you how to push you out to be a little bit more extroverted in your introverted life, right? So children can definitely teach us a lot if we put our egos aside and learn to listen and observe. And that's powerful. So God and your son are your inspiration. And we want to just say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Again, today's guest, Katie Miranda, Transformational Manifesting Artist. If you want to learn more about her, you can go to manifesting.katiemiranda.com. And we'll see you next time here on Inspired Living. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I hope that you go out and manifest the life that you see and desire for yourself. Until next time, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And most importantly, wherever you're out in this world, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover the diamond within. We'll see you next time here on Inspired Living.
Thanks, Mark.